"Sir, that upgrade coupon expired last month, and frankly, this old military ID doesn't look legitimate. Are you even who you say you are?" The gate agent, Brenda sneered, pushing Colonel James Jim Harrison's documents back across the counter. Jim 82, a Medal of Honor recipient, felt a cold fury rise. "This ID is valid, and I am Colonel Harrison. I am not a liar." Brenda just rolled her eyes. "Whatever you say, Grandpa, economy seat it is." 6 minutes later, as Jim stood quietly aside, the airline's president, face like thunder, strode to the gate, pointed at Brenda, and said 2 words, "You're fired. If you believe honor is non-negotiable, type your respect below." Colonel James Jim Harrison, U.S. Army, retired, carried his 82 years with quiet dignity, often fading into the background of bustling airport terminals. His movements were slower now, his back stiffer from old parachute injuries, but his eyes, though gentle, still held the keen, unwavering focus of a man who had faced unimaginable odds. He was traveling today not for pleasure but for duty, to attend the funeral of a beloved comrade from his unit in Vietnam, a man whose life Jim had saved during the firefight that earned him the Medal of Honor. He rarely spoke of the medal, keeping it tucked away, seeing it less as a personal accolade and more as a solemn reminder of the men who hadn't come home. For this difficult journey, his son, a busy executive, had insisted on booking him a first-class ticket on Amerisky Airlines, wanting his father to travel in comfort. He'd also given Jim a first-class upgrade coupon, a perk from his own frequent flying, just in case there were issues with the original booking, though it had been confirmed months ago. Jim arrived at Gate B-12 for his flight to Charleston, his simple carry-on at his side, dressed in a neat blazer, collared shirt, and slacks. Respectable, understated. He anticipated a quiet, uneventful boarding process. He hadn't counted on gate agent Brenda. Brenda was having a bad day. The previous flight had been delayed, passengers were irritable, and her supervisor had just reprimanded her for a minor procedural error. She was in no mood for complications, and her patience was wearing thin when Colonel Harrison approached the podium presenting his first-class e-ticket, and as a backup, the upgrade coupon his son had provided, Brenda's. Default setting seemed to be obstruction. She scanned the e-ticket. The system is showing the seat as potentially double-booked, sir," she said, her tone already implying it was somehow his fault. "Let me see that coupon." Jim handed it over. Brenda examined it with exaggerated scrutiny, turning it over, holding it up to the light as if it were a counterfeit bill. "This coupon expired on the 31st of last month, sir," she announced with a small, triumphant smirk. "It's no longer valid." "Oh dear," Jim said, genuinely surprised. "My son assured me it was current." "Well, my original booking is for first class anyway, seat 3A. Brenda typed something into her computer, her expression hardening. "Actually, sir, due to the aforementioned double booking, your confirmed seat was released. The best I can offer you now is an economy seat, 27E middle." Jim was taken aback. "But my ticket was confirmed first class for months, and I'm traveling to a funeral for a fellow soldier. My son specifically booked first class for my comfort, due to, well, age and old injuries." Brenda's eyes flicked over him dismissively. "Lots of people have stories, sir. The system shows economy, unless you have a valid upgrade instrument, or want to pay the fare difference for an available first-class seat. And there are none left on this flight, so 27E it is." That's when Jim, hoping to perhaps appeal to some sense of decency or respect, decided to show his official Department of Defense retired military ID, the one that also carried a small, discreet insignia indicating his Medal of Honor status, a fact known to be flagged in most airline systems for special consideration. "Perhaps this will clarify my status," he said quietly, placing the ID on the counter. Brenda picked up the ID, glanced at it for less than a second, then pushed it back toward him with a contemptuous little sniff. "Sir, this looks like something you could print off the internet. And frankly, Claiming to be a Medal of Honor recipient to try and get a free upgrade when your coupon is expired? That's pretty low." Her voice was laced with open scorn, loud enough for several nearby passengers to turn and stare. "I am not trying to get a free upgrade," Jim said, his voice dropping to a dangerously quiet level, the quiet fury now unmistakable in his eyes. "I paid for a first-class ticket. This ID is perfectly legitimate, and I am Colonel James Harrison." "I am not a liar." Brenda rolled her eyes dramatically. Yeah, and I'm the Queen of England." She leaned in, the title dripping with sarcasm. "Look, Colonel, either you take seat 27E or you can find another flight. I have a plane to board." She turned away pointedly, starting to call for pre-boarding for passengers needing extra assistance, completely dismissing him, the public accusation of being a liar, the mockery of his identity, and by extension, his service and the medal itself hit Jim with the force of a physical blow. He felt the blood drain from his face, then rush back with a hot surge of indignation he hadn't felt in decades. He stood there for a moment, trembling slightly, not from fear, but from a deep, profound anger and hurt. He picked up his ID, his original ticket, and the now useless economy boarding pass Brenda had slapped on the counter. He didn't say another word to her. He simply stepped aside, moving to a quiet corner of the gate area, his mind racing. He wouldn't be treated this way, not today, not ever again, if he could help it. He pulled out his cell phone. He knew exactly who to call. Not the airline's general customer service, not even the hero's liaison his son had mentioned. This insult, this public slander of his honor, required a different level of intervention. He dialed a private number, 1, he rarely used. The direct line to General Alistair Finch, retired chairman of the Joint Chiefs, now a powerful figure on several influential corporate boards, including, as Jim recalled from a recent alumni newsletter, the board of Amerisky Airlines. The phone connected almost instantly. "Finch?" The voice was as crisp and authoritative as ever. "Alistair, it's Jim Harrison." "Jim? Good Lord, man, what can I do for you?" The surprise and warmth in Finch's voice were immediate. Jim quickly, concisely explained the situation. "Gate B12, Amerisky flight, 714 gate agent Brenda, the expired coupon used as a pretext to deny his confirmed first-class seat, and most damningly, the agent's outright accusation that his military ID was fake and that he was a liar for claiming his identity and implicitly his Medal of Honor status." He relayed Brenda's sarcastic, yeah, and I'm the Queen of England remark. There was a moment of dead silence on the other end of the line. When General Finch spoke again, his voice was like Arctic ice. She said, "What to you? At gate B12, you said?" "Yes, Alistair." "Stay right there, Jim. Do not board that aircraft. Do not engage further with that individual. I am making one phone call. This will be rectified, with extreme prejudice. I'll be at your gate myself, or my immediate representative will, within 10 minutes. This is an outrage of the highest order." The line clicked dead. Jim wasn't sure what to expect. Extreme prejudice was strong language, even for Finch. He leaned against the wall, watching the boarding process continue. Brenda, still at the podium, was now calling for Zone 1, her earlier smugness still evident. 5 minutes passed. The Heine gate area was thinning out. 6 minutes. Suddenly, a different kind of commotion erupted, not from the passengers, but from the airline staff further down the concourse. Jim saw a figure moving with incredible speed and purpose toward gate B12, parting the crowds like a ship through water. It was Mr. David Sterling, the president and CEO of Amerisky Airlines, a man Jim recognized from business news photos. Sterling was not strolling. He was practically running, his face ashen, his tie askew, trailed by 2 harried-looking assistants clutching tablets and phones. He looked like a man who had just received the worst news of his life, Mr. Sterling. Skidded to a halt at the gate B12 podium, his chest heaving. He ignored the passengers still in line, ignored the other gate agent, and fixed his gaze directly on a bewildered-looking Brenda. His voice, when he spoke, was dangerously low, trembling with barely suppressed fury. Agent Brenda Miller. Brenda, shocked by the sudden appearance of the airline's top executive, could only nod dumbly. "Were you," Sterling continued, his voice barely above a whisper but carrying the weight of a thunderclap in the suddenly silent gate area, "the agent who, approximately 6 minutes ago, denied Colonel James Harrison his confirmed first-class seat, accused him of presenting a fraudulent military ID, and effectively called him a liar regarding his identity as a Medal of Honor recipient?" Brenda's jaw dropped. Her face went from smug to terrified in a nanosecond. "Sir, there was an expired coupon and the ID. It looked—" Sterling cut her off with a brutal, dismissive wave of his hand. "I don't want to hear your pathetic excuses. I have just been on the phone with General Alistair Finch, a member of my board of directors and one of the most respected military figures in this nation. He informed me, in no uncertain terms, of your despicable, insulting, and frankly career-ending conduct toward one of this country's greatest living heroes." He pointed a shaking finger at Brenda. "You, madam, are a disgrace to this airline and everything it should stand for. Your employment with Amerisky Airlines is terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you from the premises, now." Brenda stared, speechless, tears welling in her eyes. The other gate agent looked horrified. Passengers gasped. Sterling then turned, his eyes scanning the gate area until they found Jim Harrison standing quietly in the corner. The CEO's demeanor changed instantly, his anger replaced by an expression of profound apology and deep respect. He rushed over to Jim, his assistant scrambling behind. "Colonel Harrison," Sterling said, his voice now filled with genuine remorse, "sir, there are no words, no apology sufficient, for the egregious insult and disrespect you have endured from my employee, from my airline. I am mortified beyond measure. Please, sir, allow me to personally escort you onto that aircraft to your rightful first-class seat. We will hold the flight. We will do whatever it takes." Jim, though taken aback by the speed and ferocity of the resolution, simply nodded. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling. That is appropriate." The CEO himself then walked Jim to the jet bridge, past the stunned remaining passengers and the now crying, then escorted away Brenda. He ensured Jim was settled into seat 1I, miraculously now available, personally stowing his bag, offering him refreshments, anything he might desire. The flight was indeed held. Mr. Sterling remained on board, apologizing repeatedly until Jim, with a quiet but firm, "That's quite enough, Mr. Sterling. I accept your apology," finally put him at ease before disembarking. Just before the doors closed, Sterling promised Jim a lifetime of complimentary first-class travel on Amerisky for himself and his immediate family, a personal apology from the board of directors, significant donation to Jim's preferred veterans charity. He also assured Jim that every Amerisky employee, from the top down, would undergo immediate intensive retraining on military and veteran recognition, respect, and ADA protocols, using this incident, anonymously of course, as a prime example of what not to do. The flight to Charleston eventually took off, only slightly delayed. Jim Harrison sat in his comfortable first-class seat, the earlier anger and humiliation replaced by a quiet sense of justice restored. He hadn't sought a confrontation. He hadn't wanted a scene. He had simply stood up for his honor when it was egregiously attacked. And sometimes, when honor is so blatantly violated, the response from those who truly understand its value is swift, decisive, and absolute. The story of Gate Agent Brenda and Colonel Harrison became a cautionary legend. Within Amerisky, a stark reminder that behind any quiet face, beneath any simple attire, might reside a hero of unimaginable stature, and that disrespecting such a person could have immediate and terminal career consequences. Because a Medal of Honor isn't just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of a debt that a nation and all its institutions can never fully repay. Only strive to honor, always. Subscribe to Hidden Sparks if you believe that disrespecting a hero is a fireable offense, and that true honor always commands its due.